We're being killed on 9/11. Avengers. Those buildings aren't up anymore, but they're inside of us. That's what's killing us. Stop it. You can stop it. You can save our asses. But I do know this. 47,000 don't make much of a difference, except for one thing. We vote. And thanks to guys like Luke and Matt and other people who are going to these fucking things. With our oxygen tanks and our wheelchairs and our chemotherapy and our medications.
Am I able to?
Mr. Kucinich, a quick question.
Hey, hold on a minute. Let's turn it that way.
Mr. Kucinich, a quick question.
Good. Go ahead.
Here, I'll hold it.
You got it?
Yeah, here's one more.
Mr. Kucinich, how come no one will talk about the 9/11 first responder crisis that will happen in New York City? You know that in 2000, 47,000 have developed oncological indications from our service at Ground Zero. And now, one candidate has mentioned this up to this campaign.
Actually, I have talked about 9/11 a lot.
No, about 9/11 first responders. There's nothing on your website about it. There's no position on how we're going to respond
Actually,
to
I
this.
was in a congressional hearing with Congresswoman Maloney.
I know you were.
And
I was in the audience.
Yeah, I was there. You know I was there.
Yeah, I know you
Like
were.
I haven't participated.
So what's your position if you win?
I think that we have to make sure that they get two things: guaranteed health care, and for their entire lives, and also they should get some kind of a pension.
What about research to save us? I've got mesothelioma from it.
You do?
Yeah, I do. 12 guys in my unit have leukemia.
Are you a fireman or policeman?
1st and 69th Infantry, New York Army National Guard.
Can I see your name?
David Miller.
David? You know what I'd like to do? I mean, I'd like to meet with all of the people who
Good,
are
so I'll
doing
set up
this.
a meeting for you in New York City
Would you do
with
that?
heads of the PBA and NICOSH and
I'll
the
do it.
EMTs, and you sit there and you find out how you're going to do
I'll come
something
in.
for us.
I will do that.
Good, then you give me a call. You tell me how we're going to do this.
Ben's the guy to work with. Let me just tell you this. This is something.
You're the guy who's running,
Yeah, I know. But I'm telling you. But he's the guy to help keep my
but
schedule.
you're going to come.
Yeah, I'll come. Of course.
Okay. Because we've met with Hillary's people, and they keep on saying, we really feel your pain.
No, I'll come
No,
direct.
they don't. We're the
I'll
ones
come-
taking chemo.
I will personally come.
Okay. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
Good.
Tell me something. So when did you find out that you had mesothelioma?
2005.
Really? Yeah. You got a family?
Yeah. Family, dogs, cats, mortgage, car payments, the whole 9 yards.
And you're not able to work with it?
I have to.
Right. You're not
Well,
getting-
going.
Yeah.
But we're not getting our pensions. We're not getting our service provision. There's no research going on at NIH. Public Health Service has made no statement. There has been nothing coming down from the Surgeon General's office. There is an absolute abysmal level of representation regarding recuperation of our pension plans. We've got over 3,000 first responders in New York City who are homeless. Oh, and by the way, today Michael Bloomberg, again, pissed on the issues that we're saying that it's hysteria. Hysteria doesn't give you cancer. Read the Daily News. I know it's a lowbrow paper.
Don't go away. Well, it's
Sure.
okay.
Because we'll give you a whole platform. And just think of it this way, 47,000, we'll all vote.
Do I know how to get in touch with him?
Yeah, I'm going to give you my cell number.
I want to know his contact information.
Okay, I'll get it for
I
you.
will come to New York City.
I'll hold you there. We'll even pay for your
But I
cab.
want to meet. I want to meet with the people. Okay.
I want you to meet
I'm
with
sorry what you went through. I mean, I'm not. But I'm saying I'll come.
on the next
I'll come and I'll
campaign when
listen.
they start talking about universal health care. Here's how you can help us. Next campaign, they start talking about universal health care. Start talking about the fact that the people we regarded as heroes on 9/11 have been fighting for their pensions
I'm so
and their
sorry.
service
I'm sorry
provisions
what you've
and
done.
research for the past 6 years.
I'll come to New York City.
Okay.
I want. Okay. You know what I would ask you to do? If you could work, Ben, I'll take this up with my congressional office. This is something that I should get into.
Okay, I'll make sure it happens.
Would you do that?
Absolutely.
Good.
All right, let's
Tell them
talk
about the
over here.
cancer,
I'm
man.
sorry what you've gone through.
Let me give you my
And I'm
cell
gonna
And
number.
come.
fight
I
like
wanna
hell
hear-
for us.
I will. I'll come down. I want to hear what you have to say. I'll go to bed. But I want to hear what you're going through. Okay. Tell me your name again.
David Miller.
David Miller. Okay, Mr. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. Thank you.
I believe you. I don't believe the rest of these idiots. I believe you guys. The guy gave me a cell phone.
Okay, well, that's good. Ben's got it. See if I have a card. I don't know if I do.
You come talk to us. We'll come after you. You'll be this is a polarizing issue. That's what they keep calling us. We're a polarizing campaign issue. Well, we're so polarized, nobody's taking us on yet.
I'll go on. I'll
We'll talk to both.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Goodbye.
Call you tomorrow.
Right, we're gonna be in touch. We're gonna get this on ASAP.
Call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Kucinich is coming. David Miller, Luke, and Matt brought us to Philadelphia in order to challenge what's going on at the Democratic debates regarding 9/11 truth and 9/11 first responder issues regarding our health. And it's no longer first responders because after the October Discover article, it's obvious that people starting to recognize downtown Manhattan's contaminated. And we hammered Mike Gravel, who wasn't allowed in the debates this time because he promised that he would mention issues of 9/11 first responders, and he failed to do so. And for that, he earns my eternal animosity until he redeems himself, and then gave me a garbage bag of excuses. And his wife looked all boo-hooey, and I don't really give a damn because I've got guys at home dropping dead from cancer and respiratory diseases, and no one gives a shit. Dennis Kucinich and his wife took one of my questions, and they really were responsive. And he said he wants to come to New York, wants to meet with 9/11 first responders. He wants to do some work with 9/11 first responders, and he wants to sit down in a meeting. So we're all going to work together and try to get that put together with NICOSH and the Feel Good Foundation and others, so he can start developing a real mature platform regarding these issues. And he gave me one of his aides' numbers, and his wife hugged me. That was cool. And we're going to make something happen here, and I feel good about that. And again, 9/11 first responder health issues will help advance the issues of 9/11 truth. 9/11 health responder issues will help advance 9/11 truth, because eventually the question is going to be asked, how did concrete get turned into dust? How did windows disintegrate into dust? How did we get contaminated the way we did? How did it ruin our careers and our lives and our families and our health? And that's when people have to start asking, were these normal collapses? How could this happen? And it'll hopefully unite the movement, and hopefully it'll teach people that we can do more together. And it was a good day. It was a good day.
Can I see your name?
David Miller.
David? You know what I'd like to do? I mean, I'd like to meet with all the people who
Good, so I'll
doing
set
this.
up a meeting for you in New York City
Would you do
with
that?
heads of the PBA and NICOSH and
I'll
the
do it.
EMTs, and you sit down and you find out how you're going to do
I'll come
something
in.
for us.
I
Good.
will do that.
Good, then you give me your card.
I'll
You
give
tell me
you
how
my-
we're going to do
my
this.
information.
Chemo.
I will personally come.
Okay, I'll hold you there.
Yeah.
My name is Hassan Innes.
Your name again?
Hassan Innes. First 69th Division, 46th Division, Army Reserve. I was down there, first sergeant, down there in the infantry. Right now, my chest is cancer illness coming upon me from being sick from down there. Right now, I'm here in the Army talk.
It's hard to know where to begin on this, except that I want to begin with you as individuals. I'm going to ask some questions, and they might seem to be stupid questions, but I need to get a sense of knowing where this is at.
ESU had masks with them. Most cops did not, most firemen did not have the appropriate masks. We were National Guard. We don't leave the Army without an M17A2 protective mask on our head. I went to Hassan, to my first sergeant here, 5 times. We got guys getting sick. People throwing up. There's some bad shit in the air here. Should we put on the masks? And 5 times he went to Lieutenant Rodriguez, he went to Captain Fernandez. They called up to DSMA, Division of State Military Affairs. We didn't get an answer for 8 hours. At the end of that, my guys were walking around with the little paper mask that somebody confiscated from Home Depot. You ever seen that video with Giuliani, put your mask on? Yeah, that's what he was talking about. My point is, all the military personnel had masks with them. And DSMA never gave the order, Division of State Military Affairs, to mask up. On the pile were Connecticut Guard, Pennsylvania Guard, New Hampshire Guard, New Jersey Guard. Everybody who was anybody went running down there for the first 3 or 4 days. And they didn't even go move as units, they moved as individuals. We never got any word to mask up. So here was an instance where you had the stuff with us, right here. We had masks with us. And we were denied the utilization of those masks because we were told state EPA got word from the Fed EPA the air was clean. And your prestigious colleagues in Congress have yet to ask Christy Todd Whitman, why did you say the air was clean, and if so, why are we all sick?
They did. They did.
Yeah, and she said...
She said 6. Sir, the bottom line is, you can be working in, let's put it in layman's terms, you could be working in Office Max or Home Depot, have a box full on your head, and get workman's comp faster than as if you were a 9/11 responder who was sick and injured from 9/11. That's the bottom line. The thing is, the further we get away from 9/11, the more catastrophic it becomes for the 9/11 responder to actually have proof that he was on the pile, or to get the old employee to say that they did. If they had the badges were taken away from them. So they extended the filing deadline from August 2007 to now to 2008. But a lot of them still aren't sick. A lot of them are getting sick now. Some are going to get sick after that. So right to 2008, they're pretty much screwed. The thing is, the further we get away from 9/11, the harder it is to prove that 9/11 caused your illness.
I believe you. That's the first thing I want you to know. I believe what you're telling me. I get a general idea of what you might be up against. Nobody can know really the way you know, but I get an idea of the games that can be played with you. I don't think anybody can imagine what it's like to, really, you're struggling to survive.
One way or another, they find a way out, but one of the other issues here, in regards to the economics of this, we're all getting hurt very badly. My guys are going homeless. My guys are ending up, I got guys in my unit who are down there, who are disabled now, who are waiting for workman's comp or disability or SSD, who are on food stamps. And that's a national tragedy, man. I mean, that's just wrong. And, hey, you don't need to believe us. Look at the Mount Sinai study. Look at this article from Discover Magazine. I got one for you right here, man. Right here. It was in Discover Magazine. This isn't like Conspiracy Times or Skeptic Magazine. Discover Magazine put this thing out. The Hearst people published that. And they put out there may be up to 300,000 or more people that are still being contaminated down there. Whatever happened to all the asbestos and the chromium and the mercury and the heavy metals?
Right, exactly.
What happened to it? Well, I'll take you down to Chinatown now, go up on a rooftop and scrape some for you. What did we do after 9/11? Everybody who was at this table who was there knows what we did. The city sent out street sweepers.
And, yeah, well, has anybody gone and taken those samples?
I have.
Yes.
And we can all do it.
Patty Bank and...
I mean, how much of that stuff is likely to still be under the pumps?
Well, it's
I
more
think
likely,
that's
No,
the
I
best.
just told you anyway.
No, but I'm just curious.
it's more likely to be in the air conditioning ducts.
A lot of-
You can still find it in the
A lot of people, a lot of responders have bagged what they wore down at Ground Zero. They never wash it. Some bags, or somebody took I took this from Ground Zero. If we're contaminated, that's what we're contaminated.
Okay, well, you can't, in a sense, though, when you see the level of destruction, look, this is like a war. When war
It was a war.
Well, it's a war. So when war happens, what happens? You get things that are in a solid state suddenly become reduced to a gas state. It can go from solid to gas. So, which means aerosolized what? Hydrocarbons, aerosolized
Concrete.
metals, aerosolized concrete, aerosolized
Computers, piping.
400 chemicals.
Insulation.
400
And for which they don't know what they are.
And that's,
For new
that's
chemicals.
understandable, but 5 days later, on September 16th, Christy Whitman said the air was safe to breathe.
Yeah, well, that was a political statement.
Yeah.
You know,
But she's never been held accountable for
That was an
that.
economic statement.
Well, you know what? Wait, you just gave me an idea. Hold on a minute.
Must be gas.
Well, you see, there's a. I'm gonna ask for the EPA's records from that time period, and I will get them. I mean, the chairman of domestic policy, I will get those records. I want to look at what they knew and when they knew it, because no one could possibly maintain that kind of position with any kind of credibility. I have a couple of questions I want to ask.
Well, I guess if they were subpoenaed in the lawsuit against the
Doesn't matter. I mean, I want those records. We're not going to tie this up
The
forever.
White House gave Christy Todd Whitman a secret clearance to make many of those documents secret.
You know what?
They're gonna have to-
Congressman,
I'll-
word has it they were falsified, those documents.
Well, that would be a first.
Do you know Kate Jenkins?
I'll find out. I just want to see what they have, and then we can, if you can make sure I have your
Absolutely.
information.
I was there when the EPA came in and monitored the air at
Really?
our temporary headquarters. I was there when they said the air quality is fine. I asked them, I specifically said how in the test results, we were told that the air quality is fine. And the next day I came in, and Billy can tell you because he was there also. There were signs hanging up on the door saying, "Do not remove respiratory protection, asbestos levels," or I don't remember what the number was, but hundreds of times above the permissible limit.
I would guess that.
The best part of it was, we walked inside the door, walked 20 feet, there's food sitting out
Yeah.
for us to eat and drink.
Oh man.
Catering trays, spoons.
Yeah,
You
barely
could
slept.
see the stuff.
They would carry trays, food on trays, like in the old days,
Comes in
with
through your
cigars,
skin.
and they were just feeding us.
I need whatever kind of documentation you can get me initially. This statement here I think is pretty helpful from Lieutenant Gleason. If I could get, what would be helpful to me is if each each one of you is here, whether you identify yourself or not, that's your business. But if you give me a one-page statement. Mr. Miller, as you were walking in, I asked everyone who's here. This is very helpful. If you could give me a one-page statement, now here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to make it in the form of an affidavit. You hear me? Mm-hmm. Make a statement, have a notarized. In other words, I want you to take a note, I swear to it. Because I'll take those to my committee, okay? I can use those as a basis to build hearing on this. So anybody that you can get a statement from, put them together, get them to me. And as soon as I have, a dozen or so to start with, let's keep going, and then you put the word out through the community, everybody you know. Just tell them that Kucinich wants a notarized statement of what you're going through. I want to hear it all. I want to hear the symptoms. I want to hear, where you were, what you were doing, when you started to have symptoms, trying to get relief from people, going to different places, trying to get your help recognized, your situation recognized, paths that you sought, remedies that you tried to get for yourself. I want to know everything, how you feel about it in particular. I want to know how you feel. I want to know what you have to deal with. And I will get you, I'll get this story out, but I'll do more than that. What I want to do is if you can help put together enough stuff for me, I'll hold a congressional hearing on this. And maybe I'll come here to do it. you know, instead of just do it in Washington. We could either, whatever works for you, whether you want to do it there or here. But I think that, you know, like what I saw with Gulf War, it's real easy for people to bury this and move on to something else. That's what happens in Washington. And that's what happens everywhere in government. They just move on to something else. Everything rushes by. Meanwhile, you're still stuck with your effects. I don't think you're making any of this.
We've got the medical records to prove it.
The bottom line is,
I'm just telling you,
human life is taking a backseat to economics here.
For what?
Human life is taking a backseat to
Look,
economics.
it's historic. But I want you to help me help you. So just put this stuff together in the form of affidavits. I want to hear the stories. And then I will start the process of forcing Washington to look at this.
I think, and not to wax conspiratorial here, but I think one of the issues that's going to come out is that the contamination hasn't been cleaned up. And we're the canaries in the coal mine. We're the first ones who are getting sick. But it's in that Discover article, Mount Sinai's spoken about it. There are going to be civilians coming down with this now. There are going to be people who weren't on the pile but who live in that area. Take a look at what the economic cleanup is going to look like.
You're looking at something that quite possibly affects millions of people. I understand that. And children, and you know, it's like this is, you won't know the effects with the children. See, I want to look at, this is why I want to look at epidemiological studies. I want to get health records. And I'm going to have my staff start to ask for those. Because this might take a while, but we need to start gathering information. Because I'm going to guess that you're probably going to see increased incidences of respiratory problems among children in particular. Watch children. Asthma. Okay, I want to look at that. I want to start tracking these things so you can see what was it like before 9/11. Okay, and then let's start looking. You know, 5 years.
Denito posted a story last year on Stuyvesant High School, 30% increase in asthma.
Okay, there you go. I mean, now look, I want to know about this, and I want to start gathering. You pull all the information together, and suddenly it starts to look different. If you will work with me to build the hearings, I'll commit to you that we'll have one major hearing that will focus all the concerns that you have, and start to then use that to push back on all these people that have been ignored. I'm willing to do that.
Within the next year?
Pardon?
Within the next year?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the idea. I believe you. I believe what you're telling me. Now, I want to figure out what I can do. When you came to me the other day, after that debate, you know, I wanted to hear what you said. My wife told me, you got to listen to Mr. Miller here. And I knew you were telling me the truth. And I told you I'd be here, right?
Well, he drove us up all the way to Philly with Claire, and traveling for me ain't no party for any of us. He came in, he just had three major surgeries. He's having a ball. None of us are doing great. There are little issues here that we need taken care of right now. We need them right now. Just getting coverage for simple, basic things to make our lives more amenable and livable while we're fighting for the big issues here.
Well, okay, let me address that. Here's what I'm willing to do in addition to that. I've got a congressional staff in my district office. They do all casework, okay? They handle a hell of a lot of cases. They're really good. So what I'd like you to do, let's start, you decide which ones should go first. But, you know, give me a few cases here to work with, the people that like are really, really on the edge and need some help. And we'll run it through our casework. Even if it's New York, it doesn't matter, it's still the United States. And I'll give it to my caseworkers, and what you'll have to do, you have to sign a release, and then they'll have to start working, because but what I can also do, I can use that information to kind of fortify our
I got a priest in Ohio dying of cancer, Father Stephen Petrovich. Read last rites at ground zero for 16 years.
What I want to know, again, you raise a good point, and that is that there's some people that are really on it right now, maybe some people at this table. Give me a few to start with, okay? And then if I'm able to demonstrate that we can do something, then what I'll do is I'll take it to the members of Congress, and just say, hey, look, I'm handling this for you. but now you gotta help these other people. You know, if I had a bigger staff, I could say, give me whatever you can take, but we do 10,000.
Take a look at this table. You got a bigger staff.
You can help.
We're all working on this.
So if you could just give me a few cases to begin with, okay? And all I need is this. I need names and phone numbers and or email addresses, and just give me a basic description of what just a one-line description of what the problem is. Take it one step at a time. This is the beginning of a dialogue. I'm much more better informed now before I walked in the door. But, you know, just as I told you that I'd come here, so I'm telling you, we'll follow up on this stuff.
And you did.
It takes a while, you know, but we'll follow up on it. I didn't want to wait, you know, it was just a few weeks ago. I wanted to be here because when Mr. Miller came to talk to me,
I yelled at him.
I didn't take that as yelling. I'm from a big family. That's the way everybody talks where I grew up. And so when I heard that, I knew in talking to you, I could tell by your voice and your eyes that this is something that needs looking at. So that's what brought me here. You brought me here. And so I want to stay on this. It takes, you know, a little bit of time to put it together, but at least you know now that somebody's going to look at it. I want to thank you for rising to the occasion when it really mattered to save people's lives. That's a big deal. When people put themselves on the line, you don't think of what it means to you. You don't think of, oh, gee, you know, maybe I could lose my life in the moment. You just do it.
Well,
That's a big deal.
That's one thing.
How'd you think the meeting went, David?
Meeting was fabulous. We got 5 different first responder organizations in here with Congressman Kucinich, and he wasn't doing this as candidate Kucinich. It is Congressman Kucinich, and he told us he's going to go to battle for us. So Whitman, she should go get herself a very good attorney, and we're going to actually get some relief for the first time. And this was because you, Luke, you got us up to Philly.
The meeting was a step in the right direction. It was actually a compassionate member of Congress who listened to what we had to say, and he wasn't distracted by outside influences. He actually took notes. He seemed caring. He seemed compassionate. I've met a lot of congressmen and women, and he's up there with the handful that I actually like now. And once again, it's not about what happened on 9/11. It's about what we could do now to eradicate what's going on that isn't helping 9/11 responders. Let's not talk about the negative. Let's talk about the positive. And I think this man has that capability. And listen, we'll take it day by day and see what he actually does. And like every other elected official, you hope you're not getting political rhetoric. You're hoping that they actually do something. And I believe this man will do something.